The first book that I wrote on coaching was very purposely titled Quality Teaching in a Culture of Coaching. And I chose that title because I wanted to communicate that coaching was not an isolated activity, but it was in reality an element of the organization. If you would, it's how we did things here in this school. Coaching is a strategy that's used for many reasons. One of the critical reasons is to build the relationship necessary among a school staff to have the collegiality that is critical to build student success. That is probably best described in an article by Roland Barthes that was published in ASCD, titled Improving Relationships Within the Schoolhouse. Barthes described 4 different teacher relationships: parallel play, adversarial, congenial, and collegial. In parallel play, teachers teach near each other but not with each other. In adversarial, teachers withhold information that may be valuable to other colleagues. Could be that I've worked hard with a student and made a breakthrough, but I didn't take what I learned and passed it on to other teachers who might be working with the same student. Congenial comes from teachers tending to create a friendly culture with each other, but within their friendships, they tend to not include work. So we have conversation about our families, about our lives outside of school, but we're not looking at each other's lesson plans. Collegial, which is a critical culture for school success, needs to be built. And when staffs are collegial, then teacher decision making is highly influenced by input from colleagues. I think coaching is critical to building that collegial culture that a school needs. I'd like to just present a couple of quick places where I think coaching is how we get things done here. When new teachers come on a staff, knowing is important. We need to build that relationship between teachers. I know of nothing that builds relationships faster than a teacher being in another teacher's classroom. One school that I work with that's an international school with a rather large turnover every other year of staff. When new teachers come to the school, they're given the names of 3 teachers in the building who are inviting that new teacher into their classroom. Real important to get that. They're not going into the classroom of the new teacher. They're inviting the teacher into their classroom. That element of coaching greatly increases knowing. Coaching needs to be a critical element of the mentoring for beginning teachers. And matter of fact, I encourage instructional coaches to work with mentors who are working with beginning teachers so that beginning teachers go from that mentoring process into a coaching process so that they're recognizing that coaching is the culture of the building. Professional development demands coaching components if it is going to have an impact on changing teacher behavior that impacts student learning. The work from Bruce Joyce and Beverly Showers going back to the 80s and being repeated in the early 2000s reinforced that it is unlikely that teachers who receive professional development and do not receive that feedback that comes from peer coaching and instructional coaching, supervisory coaching, are unlikely to implement the new learning in their classroom at a level that has impact on student achievement. I think coaching is a critical extension of professional learning communities, and I encourage instructional coaches who are involved in professional learning communities to show people how questions raised in the professional learning community can be explored through coaching, through observations done by the instructional coach, through observations done by teachers in each other's classroom. Gathering information about existing teacher and student behaviors helps us to create a new idea for bringing about change. One of my best examples of a culture of coaching being created in a school, I had an opportunity to be working in a school where a teacher new to the building had been in the school for about a month, and she was invited to a meeting with the learning support staff from the school, and informed that an autistic child would be moving to the school and would become a member of her classroom. And after a short conversation in planning with the instructional support folks, the teacher headed back to her classroom. A short time later, all the teachers at her grade level and all of the learning support people within the school received an email from that teacher telling them about the student who would be joining her classroom and announcing that during the next 2 weeks she would have an open door on her classroom, inviting and encouraging any of those folks who could find some time to stop in her classroom, observe, and provide her some feedback on what was happening in her classroom that was going to make it easy for this child to transition into working in her room, and any ideas folks had about changes she might want to make to increase the ease of transition for that student. When I heard that story, I went up to the principal of the school and I congratulated her. And I said, congratulations on two fronts. One, congratulations on knowing the kind of people to hire. But number two, congratulations for creating a culture in your school where someone new to the building that quickly identified that coaching was the way to do business.